Google has a very strange problem right now. It is one of the most powerful AI companies on earth. It owns DeepMind, it built Gemini, Cloud, custom AI chips, billions of users, and enough money to make almost any startup look like a school project. And yet, this week, the story around Google is not that it is dominating the AI race. The story is that some of the people who helped create the AI race are walking out the door. Noam Shazeer is leaving Google for OpenAI. John Jumper is leaving Google DeepMind for Anthropic. And these are not random names from a corporate org chart. These are the kind of names that make Wall Street stop looking at the logo and start looking at the people behind the logo. Because in normal tech, talent matters. But in AI, talent is the product. That is what makes this story so uncomfortable for Google. Noam Shazeer is one of the authors of the 2017 paper Attention is All You Need, the paper that introduced the transformer architecture. And the transformer is basically the engine behind the modern AI boom. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, copilots, coding agents, all of this comes from the world that paper unlocked. So when Shazeer leaves Google, builds Character.ai, gets pulled back into Google through a massive Character.ai licensing and hiring deal of $2.7 billion, becomes a key figure around Gemini, and then leaves again for OpenAI, that is not just a resignation, that is a signal. And then there is John Jumper. Jumper is one of the key people behind AlphaFold, the DeepMind system that helped solve one of biology's biggest problems, predicting protein structures. This was not a chatbot demo. This was real science. In 2024, John Jumper, Demis Hassabis, and David Baker won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for work connected to protein structure prediction. So when Jumper leaves Google DeepMind for Anthropic, the story becomes bigger than Google lost an AI researcher. It becomes Google's science engine is now feeding talent into one of its biggest AI rivals. And that is why this week feels different. Because Google is not losing people to tiny startups nobody has heard of. It is losing symbolic AI talent to OpenAI and Anthropic, the two companies most directly challenging the idea that Google should own the future of artificial intelligence. Now, to be clear, Google is not suddenly weak. That would be ridiculous. Google still has one of the strongest AI research teams in the world. DeepMind is still elite. Gemini is still a serious model family. Google still has distribution that every AI startup would dream of. If Google wants to put AI in search, Gmail, Docs, Android, YouTube, and cloud, it can reach users at a scale almost nobody else can touch. But that is exactly what makes this story so strange. Google has almost every advantage, and still the AI narrative keeps slipping away from it. The transformer came from Google, but ChatGPT made the world understand it. DeepMind created some of the most important AI breakthroughs ever, but Claude became the model many developers talked about like a secret weapon. Google had the research, the talent, and the infrastructure, but OpenAI and Anthropic got the momentum. Frontier AI is not like a normal software business where one employee leaves and the machine keeps running. At the edge of AI, the important knowledge is not always written neatly in documentation. It lives in judgment, taste, failure memory, training intuition, and the weird experience of knowing what happens when these giant systems are pushed to their limit. You can copy code, you can rent GPUs, you can buy data center capacity, but you cannot easily replace the few people who know what to try next. And that is why investors reacted so strongly. Alphabet shares came under pressure as Wall Street questioned whether Google still looks like an AI winner. The stock move was not only about two people leaving, but the departures landed right on top of a bigger fear that has been building for years. The fear is simple. Google invented too much of this world to look like it is chasing it. That sentence is the whole problem. Because Google should be the obvious AI winner. It has the history, the infrastructure, the researchers, and the products. But the market is now watching its top AI people leave for companies that feel faster, sharper, and more focused. And maybe that is the real reason this keeps happening. OpenAI and Anthropic are not just offering jobs, they are offering a mission with less corporate gravity. At a startup-style AI lab, a top researcher can feel like their work becomes the company. At Google, even great work has to move through a giant machine filled with product risk, legal risk, brand risk, search revenue, internal politics, and 1,000 competing priorities. That does not mean Google is doing nothing. It means Google is fighting the AI war with the burden of being Google, and that burden is heavy. Because Google cannot just move fast and break everything. Google already owns the things that break: search, ads, Android, workspace, cloud, YouTube. Every AI decision touches a real business, real regulators, real users, and real revenue. But the AI talent war does not care about sympathy. It only cares where the best people believe the next breakthrough will happen. And right now, every major departure becomes a story. Not because Google is finished, but because each exit adds to the same uncomfortable question. If Google helped create modern AI, why do so many of the people connected to that future keep choosing to build somewhere else? That is the real drama. Not that Google lost 2 employees. Not that OpenAI and Anthropic automatically win. The real drama is that the AI race is becoming a battle for belief. Researchers need to believe they are in the right lab. Developers need to believe they are building on the right model. Investors need to believe the company has momentum. And users need to believe the best AI is coming from the platform they choose. For 20 years, Google was the place where the future worked. Now it has to prove that again. Because in this new AI era, the smartest model does not just come from the biggest company. It comes from the company that can keep the smartest people convinced they are already standing in the future.